When talking about the Arsenal game yesterday in the review, which obviously was a cheery video, one of the things I talked about was the lack of leadership at West Ham. It was one thing I've noticed it quite a fair bit throughout the season. I think most have as well. I'm sure you have. Like you see these games, the way that we're just not handling situations very well as a team. I think, for instance, like even like just I'm thinking of snapshots here, like Bristol City. Let's think about the Bristol City game. We looked really first game when they we drew 1-1 with Bristol City. We couldn't cope with them. We couldn't handle the situation very well, and the leadership on that pitch, it was just lacking. You could see it was lacking. There was no come on. Let's keep ourselves calm and deal with this. It was just none of that. It's all like there's no one rallying them. There's no collective going on at the moment. It's all like just individual players. Then obviously you then go away to Bristol City, which we lost. And if you remember, Saïd Benrahma got sent off. Again, that's a clear sign of a lack of leadership, a lack of being able to control our players, because that was coming. The Benrahma incident was coming the whole game because they were kicking lumps out of us, but we weren't dealing with it. You know, if you think back to Manchester United back in the 90s, or Roy Keane, would he allow that? Would he allow his teammates to be kicked about the pitch by a championship side? No, never. In a million years, no way. He'd be dealing with it. He'd be talking to the ref and dealing with it and dealing with Bristol City players. We weren't dealing with it. And then you obviously look at other games this season. Fulham away, obviously got battered. Awful at Liverpool. I'm just seeing it throughout. And then Arsenal, obviously losing like we did 6-0 at home, was just the part that really got me most was the fact that the players gave up after going 1-0 down, which I just cannot understand how that can. For me, that is just the fundamental rule, isn't it, of a footballer, surely? Especially for West Ham, for Christ's sake. But surely, even, as I say, forgetting just West Ham, as a sports person, you don't do that. It's just an absolute pillar, isn't it? Like, surely the thing you learn the most from day one, you just don't give up. You don't down tools. You always try. You always work hard. You fight for pride. But to give up like we did after going 1-0 down is just absolutely unforgivable. But it was the nature in the way that our players handled the situation. And you have to ask the question, where was our captain? Where was he? Where was that leadership? Because all the players should be very much ashamed of what unfolded. And when they come away, I'm sure they were. But as a captain, you should be feeling it more. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a leader of the team, surely you'd be feeling it more so, thinking like, I can't believe I've led that team out. I don't see a leader in Kurt Zouma. I don't see it. I thought it was a strange choice. I think we all did, didn't we? Let's be honest. A bit of a weird one. We all thought, Zouma, really? But a really odd choice of a captain. And I don't see any leadership qualities in him. I just don't see it. I don't even see him really leading the team during the game when things are fine. I mean, he doesn't come across very vocal to me, that vocal and that commanding. If anything, he just seems like he mucks about. If anything, he's a bit of a laugh and a joker. I'm not having a go at being that and as a personality. That's fine, but I wouldn't make a laugh and a joker captain. I've talked about a number of times about Manchester United and their decision to make Bruno Fernandes captain. I thought it was a bizarre one because he just doesn't come across like a leader. He comes across like a whiny twat. But Zouma doesn't come across like a leader. And that was absolutely 100% evident against Arsenal. It's just, as I've said, there's other games I could say where I feel that he's lacked. But against Arsenal was just horrific. Like, where was he? And where were other players? Where are these leaders? David Moyes selected Kurt Zouma. And I actually thought at the time, although it was a bizarre choice, I thought it was a real big statement for Zouma and something that maybe he would really cherish, considering the fact what he's been through, you know, in terms of last season and the whole cap thing, or the season before, wasn't it, a couple of years ago, and all that stuff. And the club stood by him, the manager stood by him. I mean, his fucking knees are another conversation for another day, aren't they? Let's be honest, that's a complete separate conversation. But his leadership is just not there. And it's something that really does need addressing. And this is where it really annoys me with David Moyes, is that he won't do anything. Do you know what I mean? He won't do anything. Because that's David Moyes. He's stubborn. He will never. If he does, I'll eat me out. All right, I'll buy one and eat it. But he won't do that. Do you know what I mean? You know, David Moyes would never go back now and go, right, I've made a decision. You're not good enough, captain. I'm making Ward-Prowse, or I'm making Phillips, or Alvarez. Alvarez, for me, should be the captain. I think he would relish it. I think he'd enjoy it. But having said that, I thought he hid. I thought they all hid against Arsenal. They all should be absolutely ashamed. But Kurt Zouma should not be captain of West Ham at all. Should not be captain. Sorry, but there are certain things that I'm not saying that every game you should be winning, and but the way that he's managed that team and handled that team and managed that situation, it's just not a captain. It's not a leader. It's just not, is it? Like, there was nothing about it. The club have got to deal with this. David Moyes needs to deal with this. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. For me, Edson Alvarez is the sort of standout for me. If I had to pick a captain now, but I can't. I know it won't happen. But I think we talk about David Moyes and his failures at this club. As he's done all right as well. But let's be honest, there are black marks against his name. The Arsenal result is absolutely a big black mark against his name. But I'll tell you what, his selection of captains is a big black mark against his name, in my opinion. It really is. It is a situation where you look at it and think that is not good. It's not good. Because he's not a captain. Zouma is not a West Ham captain. He's not good enough. You talk about Declan Rice, and I know some fans have at times go, "Oh yeah, but was he that great as a leader? Was threw his arms up in the air and stuff?" But if you remember when things were going right, he rallied them. He rallied the players. He used to calm down, come to me, would talk. He used to really try, and I don't see any of that. And I know everyone, captains think differently. I'm not saying you've got to emulate what Rice was doing, but I don't see anything. I don't see any conversation. I don't see any bringing the troops in and saying, for fuck's sake, let's get this together. I don't see anything. All I see is just hiding and being a coward. It's not a captain. Not a captain. And it's a big problem. A big, big problem for us. It's not the biggest. The list is growing at West Ham. Let's be honest, of issues they've got to sort out. But I'll tell you what. I mean, Zouma for me is finished anyway as a player. He looks absolutely dead on his feet. He barely walk, let him run. But I'll tell you what, they've got to sort out this captaincy thing. I know it won't be done this season, but my word, if Zouma is still captain next season, I dread to think how bad it's going to get, because he is no way a leader. He's not inspiring enough. And as I say, David Moyes has got a lot to answer for making Kurt Zouma our captain.